Hey, hello, what's up, you guys? It's me. Yes, it's me again. I came back to my YouTube video, and today I want to talk about something that I thought, after watching YouTube video a couple of days ago. And this YouTube video, and this YouTuber is Japanese English speaker, and this guy is always interviewing people, in English. And then in this video, he was interviewing that guy, Japanese guy. He looks like maybe in his 60s or 70s, and it looks like he was a retired guy. But anyway, this guy was saying he used to station in the U.S., on his business when he was young, and he was living, in the States for more than 10 years. That's what he was saying. And I was listening, his English and interviewing his English, and I thought that he was, this older guy, retired guy, was fluent in Japanese, I mean English, but he has this Japanese accent of English. And then I find it that his English sounds so cool. I mean, real cool, with this Japanese accent. It's like a guy from that movie, Hollywood movie, who is acting a Japanese guy, and he sounded so cool. His accent sounds so cool. And maybe that's one of the reasons I saw, the reason why I felt that way, that because this guy reminds me of someone, who I used to work with, when I was, doing that trading, working for this trading company. And this guy was also that Japanese, and he also fluent in English, but he had this Japanese accent, right? And this guy, the guy I used to work with, was living in the States for like maybe 20 or 30 years, more than that, back then when I started working with him. And this guy was amazing because, the thing that I surprised about him so much was that because he speak fluent English, but in English, but with this Japanese accent, right? But he was real darn good communicator, and every time he start talking, a lot of people, just gather around him, and he, just start laughing and start having a good time, real good time talking with him. He was such a great communicator, and also that at the same time he was very great, darn good business communicator. And every time we have a meeting with our business associates or suppliers, and then because he's such a good, great communicator, and we usually end up with that convincing our, business associates to, agree, on that condition that we propose, that is not really, good for them, but still, still he could, convince them to, agree on that. The terms and the conditions, and he was such a great communicator, and at the same time good negotiator. So at that time I thought, wow, this guy is great, he's such a good communicator. And then when I was young, I think that this is also true for everybody, but I was always wanted to sound like a native speaker, right? So, and especially when I was living in the States, in Utah, I was living in Utah, as a student, and back then I was always, I wanted to sound like a, native speaker, sounded like, like a Utahns, around me. So I was, back then I was really trying to real hard to mimic, the way they speak. But after I met this guy, this Japanese guy, also that I started, interacting with that, so many, people from multiple countries with multiple accent, and then also that, I've met some that English native speaker who is not good communicator, right? So then I start, after these things, I start thinking that maybe, it is not. I don't think that way. I don't think I really wanna become someone who speak like a native speaker, and instead I was more interested in becoming good communicator instead of people who speak sounds like a native speaker, because after I started working with this company, I was communicating with so many people with so many accent, and then I thought maybe it is not a big deal. I don't have to be sound like a native speaker. Instead, I wanted to become a good communicator, right? So that because the biggest reason I tried to learn English was because I wanted to use English as a communication tool or business tool. So if I think that way, I thought that I would be better off trying to become a good communicator, right? So since then I met him, and also that because of my experience, I was start thinking that way. And then also that people, I love to listen to some variety of accent, and then also that the Japanese accent is also sounds cool to me. So if you are worrying about too much about your accent, don't be. You should be okay as long as what you are saying is understandable. It's okay. And then that's what I think is that decent people not gonna make fun of your accent. Instead, decent people will recognize your accent as your identity, and then that would work for you, better for you to communicate with other people, right? So because you have your accent, and you have this identity, so just be confident about your English, and then don't worry too much about the accent, and then everything will be okay, I think. And then that's I can say this from my experience, and then yes, that's something I want to talk about today. After I watch this YouTube video, this Japanese guy, and then remind me of my my days working for this trading company. And then yes, and that's just I want to talk about this thing, so that it might be help. It might that if you are someone who is struggling to trying to become sound like a native speaker, and then you are worrying too much about it, just please think about what I have said in this video, and then just take it easy, and then just keep on trying to be a good communicator, right? So yes, that's everything I want to say today. Okay, thank you very much for watching my YouTube video again, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.